Hello and welcome to a new series that I'm starting and probably will never make a second episode of again, with it eventually becoming unlisted or private in the future. This is a series that many others have already done, but I don't fucking care and I want to try it myself. Welcome to Should You Play, a series where I will take a game that I played and I'll basically do a mini review of it and tell you if you should play it or not. For the time being, I won't be taking any requests, so don't ask me to take a look at a game that you played and ask me to give me my thoughts on it, because I will not do that. Anyway, today's episode, Asphalt 8, Airborne. As you can probably tell by the title of the video and the background footage. Asphalt 8 is a free-to-play racing game made by Gameloft that was initially released on iOS and Android back in 2013. And then it was later ported over to Windows, first appearing on Windows 8.1 and then Windows 10. The version I'll be talking about today is going to be the Windows 10 version, but having played bits and pieces of the Android version, I can already say that it's pretty much the same thing. You're not really missing out on much by playing it on Windows or Android, really. Asphalt 8 surprisingly has great gameplay. I like the easy car controls of the game and the simple mechanics. Tap the brake for a drift, very similar to the recent Need for Speed games, but easier to control in my opinion. Spacebar for a NOS boost, and obviously your obligatory accelerate, brake and steering. As I've mentioned, car control in this game is actually very easy, mainly because of the easy drift mechanics, so newcomers shouldn't have too much issue getting used to the controls here. Graphically, this game looks great. I have my settings toned down at the absolute lowest setting, and the game still manages to look rather impressively, apart from decals which just look like they're straight out of 1997. While the music in this game is not really my style, it's nothing I'd say I hate. The songs in this game are okay, but I find the variety very low, so don't be surprised if you end up hearing the same song about 3 times in an hour. That's about it for the positive things I have to say about Asphalt 8. As for the negatives, holy fucking shit, Asphalt 8 has the worst credit distribution I've ever seen in any game ever. It's honestly ridiculously unbalanced. So, for every new race that you beat, you get around 2,000 credits average. That's a very rough estimate, but just imagine that it's 2,000 almost every time. With it being a bit lower at the start of the game, meaning around 1,000, 1,200, somewhere around that, and a bit higher around the end game, somewhere between 3,000, 4,000 and 5,000. That's fine, but the issue is the cost of everything in this game. Cars cost a literal fortune and require almost months of grinding specific events just to obtain. And no, I am not actually joking. Currently, the most expensive car I found costs 4 million. And with you getting an average of 2,000 per race, you could just imagine how long it would take for you to actually just obtain that one car. But the microtransactions are even worse. Shitty cars that cost up to €40, tokens that let you buy the shittiest cars in a specific class that cost about €10 per pack, and credit packs, while useful to an extent I guess, still cost way too fucking much in my opinion, because the payout is pretty much trash. You thought Need for Speed World had awful microtransactions? Asphalt 8 makes it look like Need for Speed World had everything up for cheap, and with way better payout as well! Shitty credit balance issues and awful microtransactions aside, the multiplayer is pretty much the worst part of the game in my opinion. Not only have I encountered 4 hackers out of the 6 or so games that I've played, but I can for real count how many times have those cunts in multiplayer purposefully bashed on the brakes to try and take me down at the start of every race. And the multiplayer is also forced matchmaking with no lobby system, meaning you cannot play with your friends whenever you want and have to depend on RNGesus to play with your friends. Not only that, but I find it very counterintuitive. For every time you place first, second or third in a multiplayer race, you're given a win streak counter, which, when filled, will give you some credits. But it makes playing multiplayer not even worth it, because not only is the payout awful, earning you less money than in single player, but if you screw up once, I repeat, once, you have to start over. I am serious about that. You have to start the entire streak over. Some of the hardest races in racing games because of one of the worst online racing communities I've ever been to, coupled with the fact that the multiplayer system doesn't let you play with your fucking friends and it shits on your fucking heads, makes it totally the most pointless and the most counterintuitive multiplayer system I've ever used in any game that I've ever played. So, should you play Asphalt 8? In my opinion, no. While it has fun gameplay, okay music, and great graphics, the credit balance issues, ridiculous microtransactions, and the worst multiplayer system in the history of racing games will not only belittle those who refuse to spend money on the game, but will also actively shit on every player's head. I would actually tell you to go play a better free-to-play racing game than this, but sadly, it's currently the only free-to-play racing game out there that has decent gameplay. But yeah, skip this garbage game, it's not worth it. In my opinion, it should have actually just stayed on mobile. It has no place on Windows platforms. Thanks for watching.